Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am a mom now and this is Cecilia. She is almost 6 weeks old as of this Saturday, and this time has gone by so fast. When we were planning on having her, I wasn't sure how long I was gonna step away from filming videos, but the time has gone by so quick. I can't believe it's been 6 weeks. I'm super excited to be back filming videos. I really wanted my official first video back to share with you guys the birth story because it was truly an incredible experience. Totally not how we had planned it, literally at all. Could not have planned it to go this way, but the Lord's hand was in every single moment of it, and so I really wanted to share her story and just kind of document this because I knew that I would really want this video to look back on. And so I've got Cecilia here with me. Hopefully she will behave for most of it. Honestly, we'll probably have to put her down at some point, but hopefully, again, this video won't be too long anyway. She was born on March 16th, which was 3 weeks earlier than her due date. Her original due date was April 4th, and so she came a lot sooner than we thought, but she was actually a full-term baby by 1 day. So she was 37 weeks and 1 day, and then she was born at exactly 5 pounds. And at 5 pounds, that's like the cutoff between the NICU and getting to stay in postpartum with you. So we were so grateful that she wasn't a preemie. I have so much to share with you guys. I really want to share all of it. The birth story, how we're doing, how she's doing. I want to share everything with you guys. But to keep this video relatively concise, I think I'm just going to share the birth story, and then maybe in an upcoming vlog or something I will talk to you guys more about just our new routines and all that stuff. But she was born, like I said, 3 weeks early, and so I had actually finished all of my brand deals, all of my work that was required of me the day that we actually went into the hospital to have her. And so that itself was such a blessing. I was able to fully focus on her from the second that she arrived up until this last week. This last week is when I have started work back. But oh, hello. Are you stretching? Okay. On March 15th, I woke up. It was a super normal day of pregnancy. I lay in bed and I make sure that I feel her. It's like my routine. I would always wake up and then stay in bed until I felt her move or kick. And that was just one of my favorite times of the day. It's just like that to start my day. And so that morning I woke up and I laid in bed and I felt her move. So I ended up getting out of bed, going about my day. About 2 to 3 weeks before March 15th, I started getting Braxton Hicks contractions, which are those fake contractions, but they are basically like your stomach tightening and then loosening up. And so 2 weeks prior, I had started getting them very infrequently, and I actually didn't know they were Braxton Hicks. I thought they were her moving because they were happening so infrequently, and I'd never been pregnant before, so I didn't really know what a Braxton Hicks was. Essentially, the stomach tightens up at the very top of your stomach, right under your bust, and then it will just slowly kind of release. And that day I had actually started having them a lot more frequently, so I was having Braxton Hicks probably every 20 to 40 minutes. Not super timed in consistency, but they were becoming more frequent, and so I was just noticing that I was having a lot of them. And then around 4 o'clock, they started happening really consistently. I was having Braxton Hicks around every 10 minutes, sometimes every 5 to 10 minutes. And so they were becoming honestly just really annoying during the day. My stomach was constantly tightening and then releasing. During that day, we had so much going on because Jason was planning a birthday party for himself the next day with all of his guy friends. And so we were doing all of the prep on the 15th for his party that was gonna happen on the 16th. And so we were just running errands literally all day long, popping in so many different stores, and we were just on our feet all day and had a lot going on. So I really wasn't thinking about the Braxton Hicks or about her movements. And so around, I would say it was probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, I am finishing up dinner with Jason and I'm sitting down on the couch. And this is when I would really think about her moving, because when you're sitting down, it's just when you start to recognize it more versus when you're just doing a bunch of stuff. So around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I just started to realize that I hadn't really felt her move at all on the 15th, and it was becoming a little bit concerning to me. And so I decided to set a timer for 1 hour and actually count kicks. I had never counted kicks before. I was not the type of person who really was worried about her moving or anything like that. And so I had never counted before, but I was like, I'm just gonna set a timer and see if she moves in the next hour. Yes, and now you move all the time. Yes. In the hour that I had set the timer for, she had not moved a single time. And I had had maybe 5 Braxton Hicks contractions, maybe 5 to 7. Honestly, they were happening, like I said, so frequently, but they weren't her normal movements. And so I ended up calling the doctor, and my actual doctor wasn't the one on call. It was a different doctor, but I had been Googling stuff, and obviously you shouldn't Google, but Google said that it was totally fine to not freak out, that Braxton Hicks were even a sign of the baby's movement. So I ended up calling the doctor, and the doctor that was on call was honestly very serious with me. He was pretty cold about it. He was like, if it has anything to do with fetal movement, you have to go to the hospital right now. And I was a little bit taken back by how just he didn't really want to talk through it or hear what I was describing. He was just like, if it has anything to do with movement, you go to the hospital. And looking back now, I'm honestly so glad that he didn't give me any sort of reason to not go to the hospital. I'm really glad that he pushed me to go. So I get off the phone with the doctor, and I'm talking with Jason, and I'm like, should we go? I feel like this is so silly. The internet says it's fine. Just don't ever trust the internet, whether it's good or bad. Just call your doctor. And so I am going back and forth about if we should go to the hospital or not. But we had literally just done our hospital tour 2 days before. And so we knew where to park, we knew where to go. And Jason was really pushing me to go. I felt like I was being that over concerned mom, but there's just something that wasn't sitting right in me. And so I was just like, we have to go. We end up going to the hospital, and before we leave the house, Jason starts grabbing our hospital bags and the car seat, and I'm honestly making fun of him at this point. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you grabbing our bags? They're gonna send us home. This is so dumb. And Jason was like, it's just practice for the real thing. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I let him grab all the stuff. We get in the car, we drive to the hospital, we park, and we go in. This is about, I have it timestamped on my phone because I wanted you guys to know the timeline of this because it's honestly so crazy. So around 8 o'clock, I start the timer. I call the doctor around 9 p.m. and at 9:35, we are admitted into triage at the hospital. And triage is kind of that in between before they'll admit you into labor and delivery, but you are showing signs of labor, so they keep you in triage. And so we're in triage, and they don't actually have a room in triage, which is so funny. So we're literally in this back hallway. It honestly feels like a closet with a curtain pulled in front of it. We're in this room, and they start hooking me up to monitors for her heart rate and then also for my contractions. And so I'm sitting there, and they notice that her heart rate isn't really responding to the contractions very well. In fact, her heart rate was dipping whenever I would have one of the Braxton Hicks, which were happening really, really frequently. And so they decided to give me a Sprite to just see if they could bump up her movement and her heart rate. And we end up finding out that that doesn't work with every Braxton Hicks, which at this point is around 5 to 7 minutes. They're so frequent. Her heart rate was just dropping, and it would come back up, but it wasn't performing the way that they felt comfortable with the contractions. And so basically by 9:52, I've done the sugary drink, and they're like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And around this time too, they start implying that we're not going home. At first they were like, oh, you might be here, we might just keep you and monitor you. And I was like, okay, that's fine, And then around 10 o'clock, they were pretty much like, yeah, you're probably not gonna go home. So at this point, I'm like, oh gosh, am I not going home because you're monitoring me? And they're not really giving any direct answers right now because they don't know. And so they were like, maybe. And I was like, well, am I delivering tonight? And they were like, maybe. So at this point, Jason and I are freaking out because we thought we had 3 more weeks to just I don't know, rest before the baby comes. But around 10:30 is when it's confirmed that I am 100% having my baby. I am going in for a C-section, and at this point my doctor was not going to be the one that was going to perform the C-section. It was actually going to be the one that had been on call. And so at this point I'm like, I don't care that it's not my doctor, like we're doing this, I'm having this baby, whatever keeps her safe. And so at 10:51 p.m. we are on our way to the labor and delivery floor, and at this point I am like full body shaking. Like I'm not even scared or stressed or nervous. Like I really felt so much peace about it. I knew that this was what was best for her and for me, and so I wasn't even like scared, but I could not control my arms and my legs from just like shaking. Like the entire time through the actual like delivery, I was shaking. And so, hello. Oh, that's a good stretch. Yes, those are very good stretch. So I'm shaking at this point, but I'm walking to the labor and delivery floor. They asked if I wanted a wheelchair, but I was like, honestly, I'm about to be bedridden for hours, so let me walk. So we walk over there, and by 11:18 p.m. I am hooked up to my IV, and they're coming in and they're reading me all the stuff about doing the spinal anesthesia and how all that's gonna work. And at this point too, I do find out that my doctor is coming all the way into town to perform the surgery, which was such a relief because I mean, obviously the other doctor would have been completely qualified and would have done an amazing job, but just knowing that my doctor, who I had been with for the last 9 months, was gonna be there like performing the surgery, like that really just made everything feel just so much more peaceful and more sure. At this point, Jason actually runs home to grab the rest of our stuff that I needed in my hospital bag. I had not fully packed my hospital bag. In fact, we actually packed our bags literally the night before this happened. I mean, obviously not knowing that we were gonna deliver our child. And we had gotten dinner with a couple and they were like, oh, have you packed your bags yet? And we were like, no, we still have 3 weeks. I was actually gonna pack it on Sunday because I really wanted to film a video, and so I had ordered stuff online for it and everything, and it hadn't come in yet, of course. But Jason got home from that dinner that night and just started packing his hospital bag, and I was like, oh, should I be packing my hospital bag? And if you guys are a part of my group on Instagram, it's like the direct message group, I can't remember what it's called, my broadcast channel. I had actually been posting stories, or not stories, but I've been posting my broadcast channel that night that I was packing my hospital bag, being like, LOL, I feel so silly, I'm stressed packing a hospital bag. And then literally the next like day we delivered, and so I could not have planned that better. I don't know why we just felt that it was time to pack that bag, but I'm gonna say it's the Lord, because all of these things just aligned so perfectly. I felt like his hand was in all of it, and for some reason we just had a very strong sense to pack our bags. I'm so grateful though that we did. At 12:45 my doctor arrives at the hospital, and what's so funny is I had just gone in for my weekly visit with him and everything was looking so good. The heart rate was looking really good, I was dilating well, my cervix was really thin, everything was like pointing to a really good natural birth. And so when he walked into the room at 12:45 a.m., he was like, what are we doing here? And I was like, I don't know why I'm here, I don't know what happened. But what was so great about my doctor is that I just felt really at ease with him. Like we were able to crack jokes and just not make light of it, but it took the edge off it being so serious. And I think that really helped keep me calm as well. Again, just having my actual doctor there just really like gave me a lot of peace. At around, again, 12:45, right after my doctor gets there, they roll me over to the operating room, and this is when they start doing my spinal anesthesia, and they insert the catheter, they do everything for the C-section prep. The actual process was so fast and it went really, really well. Between 12:45 and 1:18 a.m. is when I actually like had her, which is so crazy. The actual surgery is so fast. From the time that they do the anesthesia and they numb you to the time that they hand you your baby is literally around like 20 minutes. It is crazy how efficient they are and just how quick it all goes by. But they lift me onto the operating table, and this is after I have the spinal anesthesia, which really wasn't that bad. I really thought that that was gonna hurt a lot more than it did. But with that, they basically just numb you all the way down so that you don't feel any of the pain. What's weird about the C-section though is that you do feel them like doing stuff and working on your insides, but you don't actually feel any pain, and they triple make sure that you don't feel anything. So the actual process was painless. It is so weird though, because you are totally awake and alert and with it the entire time, and that's actually a good thing. If they have to put you under, it's usually not a good thing. So I was very grateful to be totally alert. I was talking to Jason the whole time. He was right next to me. They had him sitting in a chair, fully suited up in his like hairnet cap thing and outfit, because it is an operating room. They're just very strict about what husbands can do. And so he was sitting in that chair next to me, holding my hand, and we were just talking the whole time, being like, I can't believe this is happening. This is so crazy. I feel like I said, I can't believe this is happening, maybe like 40 times. It just felt so bizarre. Like literally that day, we did not even think that we were gonna meet her. And then within 20 minutes of being rolled into the operating room, like we were holding her. So it was just so fast. Like I don't know how to describe it other than it all happened so quickly, but it happened the way that it needed to. And at 1:18 a.m. she was born, and they cleaned her up, they weighed her. She did have a little bit of stuff in her lungs from the womb, so they had to pump that out, but it was not much at all. And by 1:34 a.m. like I am holding her for the first time, and not really holding her because they have my arms down by my sides, because obviously with the operating room, they want to make sure that you're not moving and stuff. So they like lay her on my chest. I'm looking at her. She's so tiny, guys, 5 pounds. Again, right on the edge of being in the NICU, but she has already gained so much weight since then. And then the next couple of hours, they wheel me back to the labor and delivery floor again, because they have to make sure that with a C-section and with an actual birth, like through labor, that you are just recovering okay, like everything is done well, the stitches aren't gonna come open, all that stuff. So they have me in there for a couple hours. They're like pushing on my stomach to make sure that there's no internal bleeding or that my stitches don't come open. And for the first little bit, it's totally fine because I still have all of the numbing medicine. And then just obviously as that wears off over the next like 6 hours, it does get a little bit more painful. But I don't know if I just have a high tolerance to pain, but it really wasn't that bad. I feel like even recovery from the C-section has gone really well. By 4 a.m. we are in the postpartum floor, and she's in there with us, which is really sweet. What's funny is like, because it's happened overnight, really nobody knew that this was even going on. And so we had texted quite a few people that night as we were like about to go into the C-section, just asking for prayers. And there were a few people who were up who like texted us back, but really everybody was so shocked the next morning when they woke up to our texts that were like, she's here, she was born. After she was born, because she was so little, we had to start with triple feeding. I really wanted to try breastfeeding, and so we started with breastfeeding, and because she was so little and early, she just couldn't stay awake on the breast. So we were doing a triple feed schedule, which was breastfeeding and then bottle feeding, and then while Jason was bottle feeding, I was pumping. And so we did that for the first three and a half weeks of her life, which is no joke. That is like a full-time job all in itself, because you're feeding 8 to 10, sometimes like 12 times a day. And with that, it was really demanding, but I'm so grateful that she's gained weight and that we've been able to stop doing the triple feed schedule. But it feels like because she was so early, everything has been just a little bit slower of development, but she has gained weight. We took her to 2 doctor's appointments. So we had one that was, I think, 2 days after we got home, and she had gained, I think it was 2 ounces. So she didn't lose any of her birth weight, which was crazy. We worked so hard to keep her birth weight up, because babies typically will lose their birth weight when they're born, and then around 2 weeks they'll have gained it back. And it was really important that she didn't lose her birth weight being as little as she was. So she definitely eats really well. We are finally starting to make some progress on sleeping. Right now she's sleeping sometimes 4-hour stretches, sometimes still kind of that 2.5, 3 hours, but we'll take all that we can get. She is just so precious though. I was looking at photos from when she was born. Oh, are you dreaming? You got You got a dream. I was looking at photos from when she was born to now being almost 6 weeks, and it's just crazy how much bigger she's gotten and just how much she has already changed. When she was born, she just had no fat on her. She was so small and thin and just itty bitty. And now I'm like, she's so big, but she's really not that big. She's always been a little bit petite. We were in the hospital for, I think it was 4 days. Yeah, so we went in on the 15th. She was born the 16th, and then we went home the 19th. So yeah, pretty much 4 nights. And it was longer because we had a C-section, and with C-section they keep you an extra day just to make sure that you're recovering well. And my recovery has been honestly pretty smooth. Right now I have like really dry skin around the incision, and so it's just kind of itchy, but the actual incision itself has been healing really well. I actually just went to my doctor for my like pretty much 6-week checkup, and things are going really well. C-sections though, they just take forever to heal. I don't even feel like a 6-week C-section checkup is enough. I feel like you need one at like, I don't know, like 3 months, because with C-section, it just takes so much longer to actually heal because it's a surgery. So when I first had her and we were able to go home, they said, you know, don't lift anything heavier than your baby for 2 weeks. And that's really hard because most things are heavier than a 5-pound baby, but you just have to be so careful with the incision in your abdomen. They don't want you lifting anything heavy. They don't want you doing any turning movements or like really bending down and doing anything. So Jason really stepped up and he kind of handled like everything the first 2 weeks. And then after that, I started to be a little bit more mobile. I was trying to be really good about getting up and walking around a lot, because that's really helpful with postpartum for C-section as far as recovery goes. So that was like something that I was trying so hard to be good about, was just, even if I didn't feel like it, getting up, walking around. Even in the hospital, I would get up and just take a little lap, even though it was so hard and I was moving so slow. I think it really did help with my recovery. Even at 6 weeks, I like am technically cleared to start working out, but I honestly don't feel like working out is the best thing for my body right now. With everything, you have to kind of see how it feels and see how you feel. And right now, I just don't feel super comfortable like starting to work out again. And even with walks, I'm only walking about 1.5 miles before I'm like pretty much done. So it's a slow recovery. It's a little bit frustrating as somebody who just thought that they were gonna like get back to life and start doing things, especially like going on walks and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go on so many walks with her, and all of that has just been a little bit delayed, or just like doing everything in moderation a little bit less than I thought. But I'm so grateful to have her with us. I don't know why I even was so adamant about calling the doctor and counting the kicks and doing all the things. I don't even know what turned me on to noticing that she wasn't moving, because I had had so many Braxton Hicks. It didn't really even occur to me that she wasn't moving. And so I really do feel like it was the Lord that just gave me that sense that something was wrong, and to go in and to call my doctor and to get checked out and go to the hospital and have our bags packed, and just how it all happened so smoothly. I truly am so grateful. I feel like the Lord's hand was 100% in it, and that he knew when she would be born. It was so funny, that morning I literally journaled, God, I just am so grateful that you know when Cecilia is gonna come and when she's gonna be born. And the joke is on me, because it was literally that night that she came. And again though, because the Lord's hand was in it, it was just perfect timing, and it just could not have gone better. And she has done so well since she came into this world. So we're very grateful that she's here and that she's healthy and that she's of good weight now. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that she's here with us, and she is so cute and just more perfect than I could have ever imagined. You obviously just wonder what your baby looks like when they're in the womb, and just seeing her in person, I just could not get over how beautiful she is and just how sweet she is, how precious she is. And I'm just so grateful to be her mom. And I feel like we can talk all about mom stuff in a different video, because that has been a whole separate journey with recovery and postpartum feelings and all that stuff. Like, that is its own video. I think that's where I'm gonna end it. This actually ended up being a long video, which is why I can't get into all the postpartum stuff, not right now. We're gonna do that in a separate video. But like I said, we have so much to catch up on, and I'm so grateful for her and for you guys being here. And I don't think I said this, but Cecilia is a family name. I had a few of you guys asking me why we named her Cecilia, and that is Jason's dad's mom's name. And so it just was really, really meaningful to do a family name, and we love the nickname Cece. Also, we did go with Cecilia Wen, which was my middle name. That's actually my Chinese adoptive middle name, and so we just thought that we would carry that on with her as well. But that is her birth story. I want to do like a real Q&A and just answer y'all's questions in separate videos, so maybe I'll do that, or you can put the questions down below in the comments. I'd love to just chat more with you guys. Like I said, we have so much to catch up on, but I thought I would start here with her birth story. Thank you guys for being here, and I can't wait to share more with you and just update you on everything that's been going on. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below if you have any questions for my next video. And don't forget to subscribe if you happen to be new here. You want to stick around for some more videos. I'd love to have you back on my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next one really, really soon. Bye guys.